In the decades leading up to the destruction of the Second Temple, the Jews of Judea lived under the military governance and administration of the Roman Empire. Subjected to Roman rule and persecution, and managing the tensions of living under Roman occupation, in some respects helped to prevent their destruction and disappearance, the Jews' disappearance and destruction. It was in this period of subjugation that the deputy high priest, probably appointed by the Roman governor, Rabbi Hanina, taught this aphorism. Heve mitpalel bishloma shel malchut, she'ilmale mora'a ish et re'ehu chayim bela'anu. Pray for the peace of the government, for except for the fear of that, we should have swallowed each other alive. This saying comes from the Mishnah, from Pirkei Avot, the sayings of the fathers, and is considered quite unlike any other sayings that are found in this collection of ethical teachings. It offers an insight into the Pharisaic mind and its perception of Roman power. It isn't the first piece of advice to the Jewish people to pray for the government of the day. That honor is accorded to the prophet Jeremiah, who wrote to the Jewish nation in exile in Babylonia, advising them to seek the welfare of the city they were exiled to, and reminding them that their prosperity was linked to the prosperity of the city where they had settled some 500 years earlier than Rabbi Hanina. Rabbi Hanina says something a little different. He tells the people to pray for the peace of the Roman Empire, not because the people will prosper and be successful if they do pray, but because their fear of the government and the only way to keep its brutal power at bay is to accept its authority and thus prevent people from swallowing each other alive. Rabbi Solomon Ephraim Lunchitz, known as the Klig Yakar, who was rabbi of Prague from 1604 to 1619, uses this saying from Pirkei Avot in a comment on Parashat Korach, your Torah portion, Adrian. After Korach and his followers have challenged Moses and Aaron, arguing that all the people are holy and that the leaders have no right to raise themselves up above the rest of the people, Moses presents Korach with a test to see whose side God is on. Korach loses and is punished in a shocking way. A massive earthquake swallows up Korach and his followers. Kli Yakar links this verse about the earthquake and the word bilah, which means to swallow, the earth swallows up Korach and his followers, with the verse from the Mishnah, pray for the welfare of the government, for were it not for the fear of it, we should have swallowed each other alive, where the same word occurs in these two verses, in Parashat Korach and in the Mishnah that we've just been studying. Kli Yakar comments, Korach and his followers wanted no leader at all, saying, the entire congregation, all of them are holy, and the Eternal One is in their midst. Why then do you raise yourself up over the congregation? Had their inflammatory advice been heeded, then people would certainly have swallowed each other alive. Korach wants to destroy any system of governance. He suggests dispensing with leadership and allowing anarchy to reign. In his challenge to Moses and Aaron, he disputes their leadership and the processes of fair governance and misunderstands the concept of holiness. He thinks that holiness is an intrinsic merit. All the people are holy, he says. Something that we're born with, he believes. But actually, Korach is wrong. God does indeed address the Israelites and says to them in Leviticus, "You shall be holy, for I, the Eternal One, your God, am holy." But it is not a fact that everyone is holy. Being holy is an aspiration, a hope. When God tells Moses to speak to the Israelites just a few verses before your Torah portion, Adrian, and instructs them to make fringes on the corners of their garments and to attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner, God adds, "Thus you shall be reminded to observe all my commandments and to be holy, v'yitem kadoshim, to your God." People are not born holy. They must attain holiness. It is a purpose and goal to which we must aspire perpetually, to achieve through our loyalty and faithfulness to the covenant. Yeshayahu Leibovitz sums up the story of Korach in this way. He says, Moses' Judaism is difficult. It means knowing that we are not a holy people. Conversely, Korach's Judaism is very convenient, by which every Jew may pride themselves in belonging to a chosen people that is intrinsically holy. Such a person is not required to do anything. In contrast to Korach, Israel's holiness is not a fact, but a mission. It is not a reality, but a task.